All right, welcome back. We continue live right here. Bob Pompeani, Andrew Fillipponi, and Pony. We saw today the first day of pads. Fans over there. It's still not the same. I'd rather be at St. Vincent College, but it is what it is. And both Alex Highsmith and Najee Harris looked to put on a pretty good show in the first day of real passion. The pads were on, and I'm specifically interested in Highsmith because he looks like a beast. You saw him at that softball game. That guy might be, making people not worry so much about losing Bud Dupree.
Well, plus you've got Melvin Ingram, who I think is going to be, one of the Steelers' MVPs of the 2021 season. I anticipate that he is going to have a huge sack total to go along with T.J. Watt. I think the Steelers' edge rushers are going to be outstanding, and they're going to need to be, because I'm still wondering, Bob, why does the team have $12 million in cap space left over? And you and me are talking about guys like Alex Highsmith, who might make a big jump in year two, but it's almost like it's necessary because we got guys like Arthur Mullet, or is it Mollett? Is it how do you say the Arthur Mullet?
Mullet, I think, from the Jets.
Like Yamir Yager's hairstyle, or something else.
It's not a mullet, but it's a mullet.
and Antoine Brooks, and if that doesn't work, well then James Pierre has got to slide outside. I mean, their secondary, I like Mika a lot. I am a little bit nervous that Joe Hayden, that father time catches up with him. We don't see many corners in their 30s unless they're, Darrell Green and Deion Sanders, who are playing. Darrell Revis at this point of his career, one of the greatest to ever do it, was pretty much ready for retirement. So, Highsmith and Ingram, that's the thing that I'm going to stress, is that they went out and they made a move that gives them incredible depth at that position. And I believe now the Steelers have the best collection of outside linebackers in the entire NFL.
They'll bring it up there, certainly. I still think they need help in that secondary as you described. Let's go to the phone lines. We have Jerry in West of Elizabeth, who's first up tonight. Jerry, thank you for calling the Sports Call. How are you?
Yeah, Bob. Hi, Bob. Hi, Andrew. I got a question and a comment. Bob, Andrew, you guys, you can't never show, on your Saturday night show or in the news, the running backs on the linebackers or the offensive linemen on the
We're not allowed.
Linemen, and then,
it's off limits. We can't shoot it.
We all know, our defense is going to be fine, Andrew. It all comes down to the offensive line, bro. Right?
It will. It absolutely will. And already it's off to a bad start in that Hassenauer's in a little bit of a cast there. I'm not sure what that extent of that injury is. We saw Dotson. It's early, so I'm not going to worry about those now. But if injury occurs on that offensive line, Andrew, they got some issues.
I think they've got issues if they're healthy. I think this, from a talent perspective, look at where these guys were drafted. And look at how Trey Turner has played the last few go-rounds in Carolina and L.A., Bob. They, from a talent standpoint, the pedigree on these players, they've invested very little in their offensive line. They're trying to get by on the cheap there, and you get what you pay for. And the other thing about offensive lines is, I think more than any other position in sports, guys need time to gel, chemistry. They need to come together as a unit. They need to have ESP, kind of like what we have, where I can read your mind, Bob, and I have a good idea of where you're going with every segment. The chemistry that we've developed over 10 years of doing this together, plus we both have that incredible Italian lineage and heritage.
That's right.
Where we're kind of synced up. Exactly. I know what that means. I did a little bit of that. I had 2 cheeseburgers tonight for dinner.
And a couple of old fashions, but we won't go there. Go ahead.
That's the nightcap when I go home. My point is, I am very nervous that the Steelers' offense is going to look like the one we saw under Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges 2 years ago. Not just because I think Roethlisberger is past his prime, but if they don't block, then the whole thing is screwed. So that's what I'm really concerned about.
I'll counter that with this. First of all, I think their offensive line was bad last year because guys were just falling apart. The veteran guys, you expect to be good, and they had the reputation. But listen, you're talking about pedigree. Dotson was a 4th-round pick. He turned out to be a starter, and who knows, he could be really solid. Before him, they brought in Villanueva and flipped him from defense to offense. Nobody thought that could be possible. He turns out to be an all-pro. Ramon Foster, wasn't he undrafted out of Tennessee? They'll find guys, and they can develop guys. So I'm not ready to say that yet. I want to see. I think the pedigree on a guy like Kendrick Green is a good one. He's a nasty run blocker, and there are things he's going to have to learn, no question. But cohesion is big, like we talked about. I think it's important they play a lot in the preseason, but that puts them at risk for injury as well. Let's go back to the lines, Andrew. We got Bill in McKees Rocks. Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hey guys, hey, as far as the hockey situation goes, I think you guys got to move on from Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, the guy's 36 years old, and if Vegas thought he was any good, he would have stayed.
He's
there,
a Vezina winner. How did they not think it had nothing to do with that? This had everything to do with his contract.
You guys got to move on. And you're living in the past. It's time to get some young guys.
All right, what do you
here.
do then?
I would make a wholesale change. Get rid of Melkin, do a wholesale trade, get some young guys in.
First of all, he's hurt.
Huh?
You can't do that now. It's not going to happen now. Okay, you know what I'm saying, Andrew? I mean, you want to make wholesale changes. The thing about Fleury, Vegas did not do it because they thought he was done. My God. I mean, he had one faux pas. That was a big one, no doubt. But he played really well during the regular season. I think led the NHL in shutouts, wins a Vezina for the first time. This had everything to do about money. They wanted to have cap money to spend, and this was the way to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to move on, even though that's what the Post-Gazette has reported, that the Penguins have no interest in Marc-Andre Fleury. And if that is true, well, then they are pretty much resigned to their fate, which is, given the state of their goaltending, unless Casey DeSmith, mutates or metamorphosizes into somebody who we've never seen him be before. He's a backup goaltender. He's always been. I don't trust Jari. The guy has been good in spurts, and that's it. Given the way that this year's playoffs went, it was Andrei Vasilevsky against Carey Price in the Stanley Cup Final. How could anyone think that this team would be able to get over the hump next year by bringing back the same goaltending tandem?
I agree with you. I think they have to, and I think there's still time. Like I said, I'm not ready to write that off yet. We'll see what they do. They could package some players up and come up with a deal.
Are you writing off the Fleury move, Bob? Are you writing off the Fleury reunion?
I would never write that off because I still think there is a chance based on maneuvering with salary cap money. Chicago may have to come up. I think Chicago acquired him to use him to flip for something else. I really do. They have a good young goaltender there. They don't have a lot of depth, so maybe they truly want him. I don't know yet. We'll see. Anyway, we got to go to break. It leads us to our Tri-State Office Finisher Tweet of the Day, Andrew, and we'll talk about this story coming up. Mike Persak of the PG. Yeah, this is interesting what happened tonight. Rodolfo Castro, the first player since 1901, the modern era, whose first 5 hits were all home runs. He did it again tonight twice. We'll talk about him when we come back right here live. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on Pittsburgh CW.